Hey guys, it's Harlan Hill. Good to be back with you guys. We'll wait on the audience to build as we always do. But, let's see, is this... You guys will have to bear with me. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm on my phone. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? We're going to wait on the audience to build as we always do. We got a lot to cover here. We've lined up a bunch of stories that are on DennisMichaelLynch.com. So we've got a lot of news to cover. I guess you guys probably saw, if you haven't seen it, you'll have to check out DML's surprise walk and talk from San Diego that he dropped last night. Hey, how's it going? Good morning. Great to be with you guys. So in case you guys didn't see it, make sure, after this walk and talk, you should go back and watch DML's surprise walk and talk from San Diego last night, or yesterday afternoon his time. He is actually going to be getting on a plane today and heading back here to New York, and I know he's got a busy couple of days planned. So, and I think he'll be back here in the studio on Monday. It has really come together over the last couple of days. Tim and I, he's one of the guys that works with us here. He's basically what I'm in for our editors and engineers. He has been helping us put together our switcher. It's basically it takes all the inputs in from all of our cameras, our lights, our mics, and it pulls them into one board, and he can switch them like you would in a control room, say at Fox News or CNN. So it's pretty exciting. And Tim isn't in because today it is really, really snowing. I'll show you guys. I'll take you to the window and show you kind of what it looks like here. It's pretty it's pretty white out, but it's gorgeous. This area is just unbelievably beautiful, even in the snow. But anyway, so I told him to stay home today. There's no need in him braving this weather to get here. So anyway, so we're gonna and I see you guys are talking about not getting the app or text alerts. We're gonna have to fix that. I guess I'm seeing that quite a few people are complaining about that. We'll look into that immediately, and we'll update you guys on what exactly is going on there. So anyway, so let's get right into the news, all right? The first thing that I saw, and this is on DennisMichaelLynch.com, is that Chicago's violent gangs are looting freight cars filled with guns. And they're doing so because it's kind of like hitting the jackpot. If you're looking to get your hands on a gun that it isn't registered in anybody's name, certainly isn't registered in anybody's name that's connected with you, to go directly to the source, to go raid a train, a freight car, and pull all these weapons out is like hitting a honeypot. And so they apparently did it, some gang in Chicago, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives said that more than 150 arms have been reported stolen from the freight trains, and an Associated Press investigation revealed that they were traced back to violent crimes, and only 16 of the 150 firearms were recovered. So this has apparently been an ongoing problem for quite a time in Chicago, and I guess that the local authorities have tried to cover it up. You have to keep in mind that Chicago has had record homicide rates. You had 762 homicides in 2016. That was up 57% from the year before. So that is pretty astounding. I mean, it's kind of scary that these local politicians, I'm looking at Rahm Emanuel from Obama World, they were able to cover up this kind of scandal. I mean, they should be screaming from the mountaintops. If you're really concerned about the welfare of your citizens, if you're really concerned about tackling crime, you wouldn't try to cover up something like this. You wouldn't rely on the Associated Press to report on it. And that's exactly what's happened here. If you had people in government that actually wanted to fix the homicide problem in Chicago, they wouldn't cover it up. The reason they're covering it up is because Chicago is historically a Democratic city. It's a blue city, and so if they were to acknowledge the problem, that would be to admit that they have been part of it. And so instead, they want to deny that the problem exists as it does. It's the same reason that I believe Democrats had such a hard time calling radical Islamic terrorism just that. It's an unwillingness to acknowledge the reality as it exists, and because of that, you're not able to properly tackle the problems. But in the meantime, you have cities like Chicago that have just been ravaged by crime, and it's unconscionable. I think that you have young kids that are afraid to walk to school because majority Democratic administrations in that city have left them behind, have turned their backs on them. And so, you can go and read the full story on this. It's pretty heartbreaking and concerning. It's on DennisMichaelLynch.com. It's something that you guys need to see. There's some great quotes in there, so I encourage you to go pull up that piece. Another piece on DennisMichaelLynch.com was that Arnold Schwarzenegger is apparently going to re-enter politics. He is weighing the option of running for Senate in California. You have to remember that the reality show host and former actor was the governor of California. Actually, I think a pretty successful governor, in my opinion. The problems that he faced running California were basically unprecedented, dealing with unbelievable regulations and taxes. And so he did what he had to do. I don't like the feud that he has that he has with Trump. I think that Arnold should have gotten in line a long time ago, and he didn't. And they're still fighting. And part of that, I think there's blame to go both sides. For instance, look, I love Donald, right? I mean, I'm a big Donald Trump fan, but he doesn't need to be tweeting about The Apprentice. But the reason Donald's tweeting about The Apprentice is because Arnold Schwarzenegger refused to support Donald in the Republican primary, and I think Donald felt betrayed by that. But anyway, so Arnold's now thinking about re-entering politics. He's thinking about running for Senate. It seems I find the story to be a little bit. I think it lacks some credibility, and here's why. It's going to be an uphill climb. It's going to be a hard Senate seat to win. So I doubt that somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger would want to subject himself to that. Even though I think that he was a relatively successful governor of California, many predominantly liberal people or liberal voters in California don't think that, and so he would have an uphill climb. Anyway, read the full story on DennisMichaelLynch.com. It's a good piece. I don't have the author's name. I'm not sure. It may have been Scarlett that wrote that piece. I have to go back and check. The next thing that I saw, and this was good news for the Trump administration, was on the heels of our walk and talk yesterday, where I was talking about how Samsung and LG and many multinational corporations are bringing back tons and tons of jobs. I was talking about ExxonMobil investing billions of dollars in the American economy and hiring literally tens of thousands of people in the process with good, high-paying wages. On the heels of that, we got another huge jobs report number today, and it showed that we were projected to create around 190,000 jobs in February. The numbers show that we beat that expectation, and we came in with 235,000 jobs. So that is pretty amazing. And it also includes individuals not counted in the labor force declined by 176%. So I think it was in Donald Trump's address to Congress, the joint address to Congress, he was talking about the 100 million Americans, roughly 100 million Americans, that are outside of the workforce, people that have given up on finding a job or have decided to retire early. That's that number. So that is workforce participation. That number declined this past month. And so it's pretty remarkable that the unemployment rate is down. We created more jobs than we expected in February. There's an enormous amount of enthusiasm in the markets that it seems like we're on the right trajectory. And so employers are creating jobs. Look around here. We're a company creating jobs. We're hiring lots of people. We're scaling up. We're one of many because we have newfound confidence in the American economy. And that we think, and with that confidence comes the confidence to invest in your own business. And so, and that's what's happening across the country. And with that confidence, you see that a lot of Americans are coming back into the workforce. And so it's a win-win. If we can not only tackle this problem of workforce participation and unemployment, but also tackle the problem of low wages, that the problem that took off during the Obama years, Donald Trump will go down in history as one of the great presidents in recent history. So I firmly believe that if he's an economic president, if he focuses on issues of national security and economics and doesn't get distracted by everything else. And Dennis, if you're concerned, I consider immigration both a national security issue and an economic issue. So immigration is included in that. Then I think he's going to be pretty successful. So the next thing, feeding off of immigration, is on DennisMichaelLynch.com. There's a very, very interesting article, and I want you guys to check this out because it gives you some international perspective on how other countries feel about foreign workers coming to their country and taking construction jobs. So in Paris, one of the local governments there, they've implemented a new method to squeeze out foreign workers from construction jobs there. And it's by requiring every worker that's on a construction site to speak French. So if you're going to be a construction worker in Paris and you're going to take a French job, you're going to have to speak the language. Now, if Donald Trump attempted to do this here in the United States, can you imagine the backlash? I actually think that it's a pretty reasonable request, is that if you're going to take an American job, especially on a potentially dangerous work site, like building a skyscraper or, boring a tunnel underneath a city, you should be able to speak a common language. It's a safety and health concern, I believe. Everybody needs to be on the same page. And so that's what they're doing in the region Ile-de-France, which is the area immediately around Paris. For lack of a better term, it's kind of like a state, but it's the region in the Paris metropolitan area. And so it's a pretty straightforward requirement, and I have no problem with it. If you're a foreign worker and you're coming on a visa. You need to learn some of the language. I think that I would have no problem doing that here as well. If you want to come and take a construction job on an oil rig and you got the visas to do it, you're here illegally and you speak the language, great. So that's pretty cool. While we're on this immigration kick, Starbucks. You guys remember this? Back when Trump initially, when he signed the first executive order temporarily restricting travel from the 7 Middle Eastern countries, Starbucks founder and CEO Howard Schultz declared that the company would hire 10,000 refugees over the course of 5 years. And I know a lot of you were really upset by it because it felt discriminatory. If you're going to create 10,000 jobs, just create 10,000 jobs. To discriminate based on something, it's so ephemeral. How do you even, you're going to bring in your documentation to prove that you're a refugee, not just some other normal immigrant or, somebody off the street, some college kid that's just graduated and is trying to pay their student loans? Like how do you justify this to your employer? It's a very strange proposal. And it was clear that, look, Howard Schultz is going to run for president. I feel pretty confident he's going to run as a Democrat for president or, perhaps some political office beneath president. I think that a lot of these billionaires have envy of Donald Trump. They've seen what he's done and his amazing rise to the White House, and they're jealous. At some point, I think these guys, they accumulate so much wealth and power that they want more and more and more. It's why Schwarzenegger is running. If Schwarzenegger could run for U.S. president, he would have done it for sure. But he can't because he wasn't born here. But getting back to Howard Schultz, he did this for its political posturing, and so apparently it's really hurting them. I know you guys were mad. A lot of people were saying they were going to boycott Starbucks, and according to brand reviews by YouGov, which does some polling of consumer confidence, and they do political polling too, it shows that the boycott is different because both measures tracked both consumer sentiment towards the company and their willingness to buy the brand, and both are on the decline. And with this decline, Starbucks stock price has been wild. It has been all over the place. Since CNBC has reported that another analysis by Credit Suisse indicates that Starbucks announcement has had a negative impact on recent sales and may keep hurting them in the immediate future. So no signs that that's going to slow down. It's a problem for them. Look, here's what I think. If you're a company or you're an actor or you're an author and you have nothing to do with politics, don't talk about politics. I don't care what you think about politics if you're, standing up in an award show accepting some honor from the other actors in the room. I don't care what you think about Donald Trump. You're certainly entitled to your own opinion, but somebody like Meryl Streep, it's insignificant to the rest of the country how they feel. And if it were significant, then all of those celebrity endorsements that came for Hillary Clinton would have amounted to something. And maybe they did amount to something. Maybe it did turn out some people to vote. But when you look at the polling, and you look at studies on this, it shows that nobody is moved to go do anything political. They're not moved to get to the polls in massive numbers because of some celebrity endorsement. It just doesn't work. Not at the presidential scale, at least. And I actually remember observing another example of this at a smaller scale, and it didn't work. Down in South Carolina, in the 1st Congressional District, Mark Sanford was running, and Stephen Colbert's sister was running, and they got all kinds of celebrities to come down and endorse her. Stephen Colbert himself was down there endorsing her, and Mark Sanford had these scandals. He should have been. If any celebrity endorsement mattered, it would have put her over the top there. It didn't at all. Hillary Clinton had a clear advantage in terms of celebrity endorsements in this presidential race. Didn't matter. So, somebody like Howard Schultz, keep your opinions to yourself. Don't try to leverage it, because it rarely works for your business. It rarely works for the political movement that you're supporting. In some cases, I think that it hurts it. Talk about a liberal comedian saying something that she really shouldn't. If you want to go to DennisMichaelLynch.com, look at liberal comedian pokes fun at kid with brain cancer. I can't do this story justice because you need to go and see the video. The liberal comedian is Samantha Bee. She used to be on The Daily Show. Now she has her own show. I think it's on TBS. And she is the least funny person that has one of these shows, which is saying something, because Trevor Noah is also horrible. It's unwatchable. So anyway, there was this kid with a certain haircut, and it turns out he has brain cancer, and she said that he looked like he had Nazi hair. So look, some people just don't know when to keep their mouth shut. This kid was on Fox and Friends and told his side of the story. So go and check out that video. Samantha Bee should be ashamed of herself. She should apologize. I don't know if she's apologized yet. I haven't seen it. Maybe she will on this week's show. It's just a weekly show. The next thing is a bit of good news for Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee. Neil Gorsuch has received the highest rating from the American Bar Association. The Standing Committee on the Federal Judiciary rated Neil Gorsuch as well qualified to serve on the Supreme Court of the United States. So this is like I said, it's the highest possible rating that a Supreme Court nominee can receive from the ABA. So no one has stood up and said that Neil Gorsuch is unqualified to be on the Supreme Court. He is immensely qualified. He's a level-headed guy. He's an intellectual. He fills the shoes of Antonin Scalia very well, and I believe that he's going to be confirmed without problem. So that's some good news, and it's cool that the ABA is backing him up, not playing politics. I didn't expect them to, but in this day and age, it's hard to know. I mean, everybody's weighing in politically. Everybody's got an opinion that they think is the most important in the world, which let's talk about that for a second. I remember very explicitly being on CNN and being called a conspiracy theorist for suggesting that perhaps that the polling that the mainstream media was running was wrong and that Donald Trump could win. I was literally called a conspiracy theorist on air for suggesting that perhaps the polling's wrong, which I think was, obviously I was right, but I was being reasonable. I didn't say, I wasn't making out an outrageous statement. The outrageous statement is to suggest that the polling is infallible, to have so little intellectual curiosity to just blindly believe everything that you say, that everything that you read. And that is, so we're in this bizarro world where so little or so few people are willing to think for themselves. And, but at the same time, we're all very skeptical. And so many people that exclusively watch the mainstream media are totally susceptible to just believing everything that they see there, and then they're skeptical of anything that diverts from it. And so I think that there's got to be a better path forward. And so I thank you guys for being with us. I thank you guys for putting up with me all this week. It's been fun to be with you guys. Dennis will be back tonight. And we'll see how tired he is. Maybe he can pop back on and do a quick walk and talk with you guys tomorrow, or Sunday or Monday. But certainly we're all going to be back here on Monday, and we're going to be killing it. We are going to start broadcasting live shows and pre-recorded shows out of the studio here. We have a little bit more construction to do. We have the desk. I don't know where it is. All the wall stuff is being delivered. We're in a holding pattern because we're waiting on stuff to be delivered, but it's supposed to be here this week or early next week. As soon as it is, all the technology is in place, and we're going to start rolling. We're going to start producing shows, and it's going to be great. So if you guys love what we're doing, download the app. Keep up to date with all the latest news. It's on the iOS App Store and the Android Google Play Store. Just search for Dennis Michael Lynch. It's super easy. You'll see his face right there. And also, make sure to donate if you can. $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever you can afford. I mean, if you can't afford to give anything, don't give anything, please. Families first. Bills are first. But if you have a little bit extra to give and you want us to invest it in hiring new staff, hiring new writers, to produce more content, to hiring more on-air talent, please give whatever you can. And we really appreciate it. And we're going to start. I want to. Dennis and I were talking about this, coming up with a place in the house to put everybody's names that donates, and I'll remind them of that, and we'll start finalizing the plans on that, so you guys are all recognized here, and maybe it's a brick or something like that, and also we got to get the store up so you guys can buy some DML swag. I'm going to work on that as well. So anyway, great to be with you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.